Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Bright Founders Talk at Temi. Temi is an international software development company that designs, builds, and delivers software for sustainable businesses and promising startups. My name is Matthew, and today I'm very lucky. I'm joined by two guys, Salman and Andreas Helander. I hope I got your names right, who are the CEO and CTO of a company called Scaleout Systems. Thank you very much for joining us today. We really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to be with us. So if you can give us a brief introduction about who you are, Salman, if we could start with you, tell us a little bit about yourself and what your role is in the company. And Andreas, if you can pick up after him, that would be great.
Thank you very much. My name is Salman. I'm CTO at Scaleout Systems, and together with that, I'm also associate professor at Uppsala University. When it comes to the background, it's more like it's almost 20 years that I'm here in Sweden. Did my PhD, and then I went to Helsinki for my postdoc, and after that, starting as first in academia and then the company. So my area of research or my area of main work that I do, it's related to distributed systems. I build infrastructures and have my expertise around like how large scale applications can be designed, how much resources are required, how you optimize the resources, stuff like that.
Fantastic. Andreas, tell me, you started in 2018. Where did you guys meet? How did you realize that you would be a good team? Tell us a bit about the birth of your journey.
Salman, we met a long time ago, actually, when we were PhD students in Uppsala at Uppsala University. So this was almost 20 years ago. We didn't work together then. Salman had his kind of path with distributed infrastructures, and I did a lot of mathematical modeling projects. I went for a couple of years to University of California in Santa Barbara as a postdoc, and then returned to Uppsala about the same time as Salman returned. We had both realized in our sort of ventures abroad that we needed to build more education around large-scale distributed systems, cloud computing. That cloud computing model was quite new then in academia. So we built together then like the first educational programs in Uppsala University to cater to these kind of questions with students. So that's how we started working together. But then we really enjoyed working together. So we started doing research collaborations, and then we built a research lab together. Yeah, and then it sort of went on from there. Found this fantastic technology called federated machine learning that we got super excited about, bringing more privacy to machine learning. And then we realized that this is something we should work with commercially together as well. So that's essentially how it came about. But we've known each other for a long time. And I think that's a really important thing when you do a startup together as well.
Absolutely. And you know each other's quality of education, having studied at the same place. So you know each other really well, and you have a bit of a history, which is fantastic. So you started building this together. Tell us about identifying the needs in the market. How did you get in? How do you secure your spot, basically, and start building this as a team?
Yeah, so I can start there maybe. Yeah. I think that what we are doing, so we are doing software for something called federated machine learning. And this is all about addressing data privacy challenges in machine learning when data is distributed. So this was a very natural problem for us to start work on. We started in the research lab, we did some open source software, and then spun that out as a company. When we did this, we started building the software in 2018. The market was very, very early. We think of this as deep tech AI, what we're doing. So I think an important point for us in building a company has been to start very early with industry collaboration. So we started in the first years of the company, we did quite a few, consulting / co-development projects in machine learning operations, more or less, where privacy was a need. And then we sort of, took what we learned and we turned that sort of slowly and steadily into a product. So I think, establishing good industry collaborations early has been an important part of our journey, and then slowly building the team as well with people that we trust and that we know have the talents needed to build this, because it's quite complex technology.
Absolutely.
So that has been important, and then slow and steadily, then as the market matures and as we gain market position, then we eventually went on the VC track. But that's a different story.
So I can add few things that from the as Andreas mentioned that in the beginning it was more like we started with the academic side, and there we have built the national scale cloud infrastructure in Sweden together. During that time, I think we started to realize that there are more important tasks in the industry where rather than only focusing on research, more engineering efforts can help building the solution. So we thought that, okay, while we have a strong research background, we can also help industry in building solution. And that's how we started to deal with or started to interact with more and more stakeholders and started to realize like, okay, where are the pain points and how we can address them. And the federated machine learning area where we eventually started to build our software stack, that is where we see that, okay, while being in a distributed computing kind of environment, privacy and security is a very important component. And if we can join these two things together, providing highly distributed, scalable services based on the concept of privacy and security, we can solve very many use cases. And that is where many industries can get the benefit of. So that's how we get started.
That's fantastic. So talking about getting investments in that, obviously, not all of us are as technically minded, so we struggle a little bit to understand these things. Was it difficult to get people on board to generate an interest and to develop support, or was it the kind of idea that was taken up quickly through investors and that?
It's a very good question. I would say it's definitely been easy to rally interest around what we do. I think there are some really strong, macro drivers around privacy, but also edge computing, security, cybersecurity. So I think our technology and the problems that we solve are very well positioned from a VC perspective. But what has been very challenging, of course, since what we're doing is, it's kind of changing how you do machine learning. Instead of collecting data in a central cloud, we orchestrate distributed training of machine learning models where data resides at its location. So that's how we address this kind of security and privacy challenges. This is, of course, a quite complicated thing to explain to even technical people, and then in VC meetings it can become a bit of a challenge. So I think what we have done, what has been important for us, is that slowly and steadily building relationships with investors, finding these individuals that get it. I mean, because there are investors out there that are very technical. So for example, one of our lead investors, they have a team where they're all PhDs. Computer science or material physics or whatnot.
Wow.
So then it's easier. But that's kind of these kind of deep tech investors in a sense. But I think we've been lucky. We found the individuals that get it, that get sort of this macro drivers, and then they don't really need to understand or grasp all the technology. I think they see the sort of the long-term business opportunity.
Also, I think when it comes to the use cases and how different companies started to see the kind of technology that we are building, they see the value, and especially when this whole regulations coming from both EU side and different countries are adding more onto that in terms of providing privacy security. They see that, okay, this is something that we need. But as you know that when it comes to changing the processes or adding something more on top of that, the industry really need to or would like to first know that, okay, how much efforts are required and how much payback will be. So in that sense, we have successfully done pretty interesting POCs and R&D projects with different industry stakeholders. So in that sense, we are progressing, but as Andreas mentioned, that it is something that is, you can say, it's growing, but and that's gonna take a little bit of time.
I mean, we also started, we're talking about sort of the fundraising journey, we started with a first investment from Uppsala University's investment holding company, which it turned out to be a very good decision. So the sort of investors there, they actually helped us a lot in sort of rallying up the network and orchestrating then pre-seed round, and then by the time of the seed round, things sort of grow organically with investor. I mean, they talk to each other, and interest grows. So I think it's getting this kind of first right investor on board is very important, and I think we've been quite fortunate in that sense.
It's a good start. It's a lovely place for you to begin, but staying relevant and staying up to date, I imagine is a pretty complex situation. Your world changes very quickly. There's always something new coming up. You talk about data privacy, the hot topic at the moment. You've got to be on top of your game all the time. How do you manage to stay relevant and to stay up there?
So there I can start. So as you know, we have this strong academic background. So this research R&D is what we are in that for quite some time. So over the years, what we have done is that together with developing product within the company, we have also actively participating in different research projects. So we are applying for funding. We are one funding agency name that I can mention here from Sweden is Vinnova. We have actively lead and also participated in Vinnova projects together with that European projects, and there we got enough space to actually test and develop things and learn more new stuff that is required to build something that has not been in the market yet in its full strength. So this is how we have, while developing the product, we are also doing R&D activities within the company as well.
And in general, like trying to maintain a culture where continuous development and learning is important. And I think that comes quite naturally for us as well with academic background, like Salman said. I think it's actually one of these highly transferable skills. Like when you go from academia as a founder, you have to learn many things around business development and such. But what you tend to be really good at if you have built a research lab before is to lead younger colleagues and rally them and get them excited about really complicated stuff and learning and these kind of things. So I think that this is something that comes quite natural in our team. And I think that's going to be like you're onto there, like a key driver for success.
Yeah.
Because like there are a lot of good people out there and things that are changing constantly.
Absolutely.
And
that's fantastic.
One more thing that I would like to mention is that is more for the new or young entrepreneurs who have more academic backgrounds. They should see their R&D kind of skills or writing proposals kind of skill as a very useful tool that they have. Because I mean, there are so many different funding agencies that would like to support small businesses. And also when it comes to the Horizon scope, when especially related to the European funding, many consortiums really would like to add more SMEs in their consortiums when they apply for the project because of their tendency or their ability to have a societal impact, direct societal impact. So this is something that while being in a company, while establishing a deep tech kind of environment, one can leverage quite a lot.
Yeah, it's a way to keep challenging yourself and your team to develop and learn new things. Important to point out though that it doesn't of course replace the need to go after customers. I mean that's what matters. But it is a good way to continuously learn.
So talking about that continuously learning and the multiple facets that it takes to run a company, there must have been a few things that you learned about yourselves and about the process that maybe took you by surprise. Is there anything that stands out where you think, I wish I'd have known that 10 years ago?
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we've also been fortunate, me and Salman, because we have co-founders that have a business background that we started the company with. So that has many years of startup experience. So we have, of course, learned a lot from them. One thing I wished I had known, I think it took me a while to understand as an academic the sort of decisions that would be ahead, that it's, you can't have both, more or less. But you can have both a little bit, but in a sense, the sort of you have to choose what you focus on. And for me, in my personal journey, that has been sort of being the CEO of the company. I of course have to develop more towards business development and things like that. So that's somehow a bit leaving this academic identity behind.
Yeah.
Maybe I was a bit naive beginning to thinking that it would be easier to combine the two. I still think it's possible to some extent, but that was one thing.
Nice.
And maybe that was my biggest learning.
Yeah, in the beginning, it was more like, okay, since you were in academia, you are more geared towards giving lectures and teaching. And in the beginning, I think what I thought that, okay, this kind of presentation skills are something that I can be good at. But it turns out like giving a lecture and pitching an idea is a very different thing. At some point, one has to really learn that. And I think this is something that I have learned over the year, because as Andreas mentioned, that it's not only about like what you develop, it's also about like how you present and how you build trust, so that the companies can see that, okay, whatever they're gonna get from us or while working with us, they are in safe hands. So this kind of, you can say, interaction and building trust over the years, this is something that was something that we learned. We are still learning, and things are improving.
I've come to deeply respect people that are good and strong in enterprise sales also.
Yeah.
That was one thing I think I underestimated early, like how hard that actually is. So maybe a bit arrogant in the beginning, thinking that how hard can it be? It's like pitching an idea, like Salman said. But this is something I have learned, and we're also very fortunate here to have a co-founder that's a veteran in that space that can teach us a lot. But so there are some things that are similar when you move from academia, and there are things that are very different. I think it's what makes it so exciting.
It's nice for us to hear that. And when I say us, I mean the general audience. I think people generally will assume that because somebody's got a PhD or has this academic background, such as yourselves, that things are easier. But as you say, there's a lot of things that you need to learn, and it doesn't matter where you come from and what you've done in the past. There are aspects of this journey that are new, exciting, and take a bit of getting used to. One of those things, if we can touch on it, you did mention that you have some good investors with prior business experience that help you with some of the decisions. What about the people that you bring on board, though? How do you choose who are we going to put into this? This is our baby. This is our pet project. Who do we bring on? What do we look for?
Also a good question. I just finished hiring 3 people here in the last week. And I think, what we look for are people that we get this feeling that they are doers. That's primarily what we look for. Can-doers. That are willing to learn, that are willing to dig in whenever necessary. So we screen pretty hard for like startup culture kind of things. Of course, like expertise in machine learning, all of that's important. But honestly, I mean, we can find people that have the technical skills that is needed. That's not a big issue for us.
Yeah.
But having these individuals that really like this kind of prospect of working under uncertainty. There also, with my academic background, I want to sort of mention that getting a PhD, that's sort of a guarantee for resilience. It's not always that you need all the stuff that you learn, all the expertise that you gained to be successful in the industry or in the company. There's many ways to get this sort of level of resilience, but I think it's one of these kind of things that you pass through, that you working on something for 5 or 4 or 5 years under uncertainty. That's a skill that we value very highly.
Yeah.
Independence as well, because there's not going to be for most of the things that you will do in an early stage startup. I mean, we provide a lot of support, but many things will be done for the first time.
Yes.
And sometimes you just have to be able to just try to do something. And if it doesn't work, you try again. But what is not okay is not trying or getting blocked. So I think this is maybe what I think for me is the most important.
I like that.
Thing that we look for.
When it comes to the technical side, and in my interview rounds for me, I think the most important, or one of the most important things, is that I would like to see that whether we share the same values or not. Trust is one thing, but if tomorrow I will not be there and there is a task that I need to assign someone, I would like to have a colleague to whom I have this kind of confidence that if Salman can deliver 8 out of 10, my colleague or the person who get that task after me will either deliver 8 or 9 to the best of his ability. So this kind of sharing same values, like always go for excellence, try hard and try to deliver things at the best. This is something that I think, what, as Andreas mentioned, that while you are in this PhD environment, you have open-ended problems, and then you need to find out something that actually started to make sense, and you can find out something that is unique in that. So this is something that we have learned over the years, and I think this is something that I would like to see, like a team that share the same values, and then we grow and deliver.
Having somebody that you can rely on, super important. So, gentlemen, I'm not going to take up too much more of your time. I'd like to talk a little bit, if we can, about the future, what your vision is for the future, and how are you going to tie up the changing market needs with what's coming in the future. I mean, it's not 100% certain. You must have some idea of where you're going, and how do you balance that changing market and securing the future of the company?
I think it's the stage we're in as well. I mean, we are a bit, we are in an early market, so we of course have a strategy for the coming years to meet the needs that we see are arising. So our top priority right now is to work and deliver our software product, FedDem, that can then address these federated learning scenarios in industry. But of course, then we're continue looking at, okay, what are adjacent challenges that are coming in. So, for example, we're quite focused now in R&D on looking at adversarial machine learning. That means like attacks on machine learning models, privacy attacks, like if you are trying to deliberately breach data privacy, for example. So that's an area where we're pushing and where we're also going to grow our product portfolio. But yeah, it's important to take the time also to be out there, to talk to people like you, and then go to conferences. And I guess that's really important that you always take time to do that. Talk to a lot of people. I think that's the key.
I think from my side that I can add is that since we have in this era of AI, things are progressing so fast. What is important is that how we can build systems that can help us delivering these AI models in a way that privacy security concerns are well addressed. And this is what we are focusing on within Scaleout to provide privacy preserving AI. Why I think if I use this distributed systems hat, the concepts of providing compute resources or providing capacities in different, you can say, settings. This is not new. Those who know these distributed systems, it's for quite some time, all these things are there. For example, in grid computing, we had the concept of providing compute as a commodity and use all the resources as, like you can say, disposable resources, like use them, VMs and all these things. But at that time, technology was not that mature. But now we have cloud, edge system, fog systems. There is quite a lot of space available where we can do much more. And while having this capacity and this power, we still have to be very careful about what is actually allowed and how we can develop things that give us more benefit than harming it.
Yes.
So this is where we are, and this is what we would like to push in the future.
I mean, yeah, and maybe to end on that note, I think for me, And this has been since we started the company. I don't really see a more important problem as a person with our background to work on it than sort of ensuring that there is a way to build out AI in society in a way that can respect data ownership and privacy. Where, I mean, a lot has happened in the last 2 years, as we know, and then it's only the beginning. And all of this is relying on data. So the next wave of AI models will increasingly want to use personal and sensitive data. You're going to have sensors or already have probably in your headphones, in all your gadgets, going to be working with more, maybe personal health data that will be collected. I think regulation here, I mean, Europe is doing a lot in that area. I think, of course, it's good to reflect over AI ethics and then work on that. That should be done. But in my mind, I mean, technology solutions is what's going to help here. We don't want to sort of stop or slow down build out of AI. I think it's going to be really, really good for humanity with all this automation that this enables. But it has to be done in a way that can be privacy preserving or respect or integrity. Yeah, to end on that note, maybe that's really what Scaleout is going to be focusing on in the future coming years.
That's fantastic. It's good to hear somebody speak genuinely positively about AI. Hollywood has scared us laymen, but to know that there's people like you that are working with it and working on solutions to help keep us safe and look after our privacy and our data. I think it's
absolutely, because I mean those are legitimate concerns that are being expressed.
Yeah. Absolutely, I think it's fantastic. So I'm speaking on behalf of the rest of us who don't know how this stuff works, and I'm saying thank you for the work that you do. Is there anything else, gentlemen, that I might have missed that you might want to add? Any last touches before I say goodbye?
I think we covered most of what's on our minds. So thank you so much for having us.
It's a great pleasure, gents. It was lovely to meet you. We will be keeping our eye on you in the future and looking forward to all your developments.
Thank you very much for having us.